Remember, family time is about your issues and your relationships. Whether your family, a yard, or abroad, we cater to all your needs, your community family, your global family. Now, Family Time is produced by the Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to a healthy nation. So stay with us and please remember to join in on all our platforms. We are on Facebook and YouTube, which are live, and you can also check us out via Instagram. Now, today's session is about back to school. Yeah, you guessed right, because the back to school season is here. Now, are you a student? Hmm. Are you a student? Or are you sending yourself to school, or perhaps fitting the bill for someone else? Maybe one, two, three children? How's that working out for you? How much have you already spent? Maybe even spent what you don't have. Or are you an expert at saving on all those back to school related expenses? Well, whichever category you fall in, thankfully, it's never too late to learn, and it's never too late to start saving something, even a little bit more. So, today we will be engaging in an insightful discussion with one of our very favorites, financial guru, Sharnette Clark. She will catch us up on all the details and all the back to school saving hacks. So, we need your help for today's session. Remember, we want to hear from you always. And so today's question is, what do you do to help save money for back to school expenses? We want to hear, what do you do to save money for back to school expenses? Remember, send your answers via WhatsApp, text, or voice note. Remember, please keep them 30 seconds or less, and you may send to 876-997-3125, or call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. You may also watch us and comment live via Love 101's Facebook page or YouTube channel. Stay with us. We will be right back with our very special guest, financial advisor Sharnette Clark. Soon come.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, September 13, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain testing Metasize, Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear from Tamara Davidson, who was shot and presumed dead, hospitalized for 9 months, but then God brought full healing. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor and founder of the Winners in Christ Deliverance International Ministry, Apostle Tisha Downer Green. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. September 12th with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back to Family Time, and you are tuned to Love 101. And a very special welcome to one of our very favorites, Sharnette Clark, our very special guest. Sharnette, how are you doing today?
Hi, family. I am doing great today, and I hope all of you are doing the same, doing well, viewers, listeners. and of course the financial gurus that are going to be responding this afternoon. Checking if you're hearing me clearly.
Sponsored from our participant, but we are most excited to have you in the house. If you are just joining us, today's topic has to do with back to school saving hacks, and we want to hear from you. What do you do to help to save money for back to school expenses? Remember to WhatsApp or text, send a voice note, keep them 30 seconds or less, and you may send it to 876-997-3125, or watch us on our page live Love 101's Facebook page or YouTube channel. Call a friend, tell a friend, have them participate by calling 876-968-8327 or 8328. Now, let's get right in. Sharnette, back to school is up on us. I think it came like a thief in the night. The summer has passed and it is trafficy, but before we got to the traffic, we got the book list and all those back to school related expenses. Now, what I want to find out, Sharnette, when it comes to back to school expenses, what are some of the first saving tips that comes to mind?
First thing that comes to mind, just checking if you can hear me clearly now. Were you hearing me before?
I am hearing you. I did hear you before. It may be a little glitchy. I know we have some bad weather in some places, so I'll continue to let you know, but I am hearing you now.
All right. So the first thing you do is do an inventory. Check the stocks that you have at home. So the stocks could be books that you have purchased before, did not use depending on the grades that your children are in, and also for books that, well, during COVID, I purchased a few books that not even the names were written in those books. So we still had those books. And if it is that you have older children that had books that they were using before, relatives, friends, classmates, then you do those checks first before you head to the bookstores.
Okay, that's a helpful one because you mentioned books and scoring our homes for back to school supplies. And I know it's frequent for parents to sometimes come up on a book that we purchased that we did not use. And so perhaps I'm thinking about, an exchange, that barter system that we used to have where maybe we can give one book in exchange for another, or perhaps even split the cost with a friend. I remember Sharnette, for my eldest, we decided that we were going to do a trade system. And so a parent who had a child in a senior grade to her, what she did was she decided to lend me her textbooks each year, but she would need them in return because she had a younger one who she wanted to save them for. And so our little system was that she gave me her books on loan, and I gave her money for contribution towards the book. And then when we did like a audit, I returned the books that she would have loaned me. So I've been used to that one. But are there any others that perhaps I can utilize that I haven't yet hacked in? Top secret that you need to share? Sharnette, I am so sorry, but I'm not hearing you. I hope you are able to hear me, but I'm not hearing you just now.
Horrible weather. Are you
I'm
hearing me
not
now?
hearing you.
Are you
Okay.
hearing me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I am
All
hearing
right.
you
So
now. So you may go
make
ahead
sure
and
that
answer.
you make sure that you wrap the books first when you purchase the books. So you make sure that the books can sustain weather, sustain folding in terms of packing improperly in the bags. You make sure also what we had done this year differently, apart from relatives and friends and neighbors, we did a book drive at one of the schools, which helped, which the cost of those books cost about 70% less than what was in. We did a survey of all the bookstore, most of them, the popular ones, then we compare the prices. So a group of parents, we sent out the flyers that we were having the book drive. And for those who had books, if you didn't have books, you could get books for free.
Shanette, I think I may
And
be
we
losing you
also
again.
this you're losing me
I think I
again.
may be losing you again. The last thing I heard about the book drive. Yes, the last
The
thing
so the
I
book
heard was you mentioned about sending out flyers for book drive.
So it could be in your neighborhood, it could be in schools. And we decided that we would have done a book drive, did a survey of most of the bookstores, the popular ones, the cost of the books, what they're going for. And then we decided to discount these books at 70%, depending on the condition, 60% for some. And I think that was basically it, 70%, because I remember purchasing 4 books at a cost of 6,800. And if I had purchased those in the bookstore, I'd be looking at about 12,000 thereabouts for those same 4 books. Now, you want to make sure that the books are in good condition. Encourage your children, because you can get back some money off those books that you purchased last year or the year before. There were books, and the inventory helps because let me tell you how it helps. For example, I have 2 boys who attend 2 different traditional high schools. Some of the literature books, especially that are used in one high school in a particular form, I'm thinking that my son who is following the other, I would keep those books because he's going to use them. Guess what? That school doesn't necessarily use the same literature books. And there are some that my sixth former would have used in third and fourth form that my now third former will be using in third and fifth form. So it is very important that you do that check, because you'll end up purchasing a book that you might have in your stock, purchasing that book twice, because I've seen it happen. Parents had to come back to us because if you purchase it from the bookstore and already written the name in it, the bookstore is not going to take it back. But we, in terms of the exchange and the book drive, was able to relieve those parents. They could get back some money on those books, and they were able to purchase books that their child were going to be using at the present grade. So it is very important that you
I
take that
love it.
inventory.
I love that idea. I love the idea. Yeah. I love
Yes.
the idea,
So
Shanette, about the book drive. So the books, the books that you have, Jamaica is big on used car, but it's not just used car. We have used books, and I absolutely love it. I want to hear more about that, and I want our listeners to tell us, look, is this something that you have done already, or you are going to make sure that next year you come with your own book drive? It could be a church, it could be in your community, it could be at work. Whatever it is, remember, we want to hear from you, and we want you to tell us, what do you do to help save money for your back to school expenses? Remember, we are looking forward to your responses. Remember, send them by WhatsApp notes or text. Keep them short, and you may send it to 973-3125. Remember, call a friend, tell a friend, your neighbor, your cousin, your auntie. Tell them that family time is on and we want to hear your voice. Give us a call in studio at 876-968-8327 to 8328. Now, our very special guest is Shernette Clark, and she will be more than happy to answer your questions. So, feel free to call and to ask anything you may want to know about back to school saving tips also. And just so you know, remember the numbers for the Family Life Ministries head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. We will be right back, so join us soon.
Get the skills and certification that equates to jobs and money worldwide. In 3 to 4 months at the Distinction College, start day, evening, and Saturday classes in pharmacy technician, bartending and mixology, project and HR management, cosmetology, airline ticketing, and sales. No subjects required, no age limits, no entrance tests. Register this week and win an additional course for free. Or visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios, or call us at 876-356-4167. Distinction College, the school of champions.
Jamaica Central Bank digital currency is now here. Jamdex, no cash, no problem. Step into a future of ease, convenience, and security. Conduct business with your mobile device instantly and without fees. This is how life should be with Jamdex. You catch it free. Jamdex are the real free. Use it to buy your store bar TV. You can buy your shoes or 3Ps. Get the central bank digital currency. No cash, no problem. Jamdex, backed by the Bank of Jamaica.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. Nasty. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with them, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. Nasty. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated. Rats. With your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Bible Society of the West Indies now has Bibles in stock for back to school. All versions are available at reasonable prices. Quantity discounts for bookstores and retailers. Visit them at 24 Hadley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. You can call or WhatsApp them at 876-339-3501 or email them at biblehouse@biblesocietywi.org.
Do you have questions about the availability of medication from your drugstore pharmacist?
Ask a pharmacist.
Contact your pharmacist today by using our online request form via our website, calling 876-906-1106 or texting 876-219-9937, Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., or by emailing rxsupport@nhf.org.jm. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
Ask a pharmacist.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
The time is now 5:49 p.m. Thank you so much. It is now 5:49 p.m. and yes, you are still tuned to Love 101. Remember, it is family time about your issues, your relationships, and today's topic is about back to school expenses. So if you're just joining us, we want to hear from you. What do you do to save money for back to school related expenses? Our very special guest today is Shernette Clark, financial and insurance advisor, and she will be telling us all the good things them, so get ready to take notes. So Shernette, just before we went for the break, you told us about the back to school drive that you had, and just for us to keep in check of the books that we have, so we don't make the mistake of purchasing books that we already have, but we somehow forget. So I want to know, what type of system could I perhaps implement to make sure I don't forget the books? Some of us need a little help with organizing, and so take me through perhaps a process after we finish, the school. What's the next step for us to do to ensure that we stay on that path?
So for me, which is a personal thing that I do every single year. Once school is out, the notebooks are separated from the textbooks,
and the textbooks are checked off. To make sure that I have all the books that I rented, that when the school recalls for that one, that I'm not paying for any books that I don't own or purchase, that all the rentals are returned intact and on time, because the schools are charging for them now, or you have to purchase a book. So you make sure that that is in stock. I make note of how much is rented, whether it's 4, whether it's 5 from the various schools. Make sure that that is stocked so I can return on time. Now, the ones that I purchased, so the literature books, math book, I made sure that I go through the book list, which was a previous book list, because each grade I have those book lists saved. Now, that book list is kept until a new one is
Janet,
issued.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that for me.
So the previous...
I'm going to ask you to repeat that point for me. I think you were breaking up, so...
Which of the point? I am in better reception. Which of the point? All of it?
I'm hoping it's your internet and not mine, because these internet can be very tricky. But I'm hearing you, but it keeps breaking up.
Let us find out if it's
eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know which one of us it is, but I'm going to ask you to...
So basically, the books that are used for the school year. So let's say we're now at August or July, normally when school is closing. At the end of July, that's when I do my stock taking. That's when you have to return the books that were rented to your children, depending on the grade. Make sure that those are intact so they can return. They return on time, and I have all of what I had signed for at the school. Now, the ones that I purchase, depending on which grade, for example, I now have a 6th former and I now have a 3rd former, as I said before. The books that my 6th former would have used in 4th and 5th form, I am not letting those are staying home, not letting those out. Those are not for sale nor for donation. If it is that I have access to the school that my other son, they attend different school, and I can see, for example, what books, depending on the choice of subject, I can take the risk, but I don't usually do. I hold on to those books. When he gets to the grade that he's in 3rd form now, I do my stock taking with the book list. So you have to have the book list. Now, once I go through the book list, I have a shelf that you have 1st form books, 2nd form, 3rd form, 4th, and 5th. I know where to find them. Literature books are together. Dictionaries are together. Atlas are together. The physics book, chemistry book, every subject, they are together. So I should be able to just go to one spot and find all the literature books. Once you put that in mind, it will be much easier for you at the end of the year. Even if it's a box, if you don't have a shelf, it can be a box, and you label those boxes, whether literature books or 3rd form books or maths book, whatever works for you, whatever space you have, utilize it. Label them so you can find them. Now, once you have located your book list, or you have received your book list from the school, go through that list and you tick off what you have. What you don't have, if you have relatives, as I said before, neighbors and friends, check with them first.
You can ask for
Usually, some persons are going to be giving those books away. Then, if it is that you have exhausted all of that option now, that is when you're going to be heading to the bookstores. And don't just head to any bookstore. Normally, July is the best time to buy the books, because the new editions are going to be coming out in August, and they normally cost a little bit more sometimes. So you want to shop in July. And if it is that you're going to be shopping at a bookstore, you're not able to buy the books otherwise in Jamaica, shop around. See who has the best prices, who has the best deals. There are some persons that offer to wrap the books for free. Books can be delivered, and there are some companies that I know of that I've had the experience with who have done even salary deductions. So there are options to keep some money in your pocket and to stretch the payments. So if you have any ideas, I want to know your ideas, but that's how
I love that idea. All those are very useful.
You can stretch the payments. And for me, I don't go...
Shanae, go ahead. You were saying those are your ideas.
Exactly. And I don't do one shopping for back to school because I look for deals. So I start picking a little up from July so I don't go into the rush with everybody else. And every weekend, and so I may take the boys and say, for the uniforms and the shoes, those are purchased at the back end. Reason being, you may have a growth spurt. But in terms of the books, I start purchasing the books on a probably weekly basis. And so I'm
Yeah,
not
sure,
as
at idea, and I'm definitely gonna look at it.
I beg you,
I am
and you're not
definitely
in
gonna
the
look at
rush.
that one that you mentioned.
You're not in the rush. You're not overwhelmed. And sometimes is when money is available. So don't stress yourself about it because not all the books are going to be utilized at the same time at school. What you can do based on the timetable, you can have that discussion with the teachers. What books we're going to be using, miss or sir? And then
What
you
books will
can
you
purchase
use from
those books
September to December?
how you can afford them. So up to December, January, thereabouts, you give yourself some time and stretch the payments. Like for me, I don't purchase all the uniforms again in September because you, based on my sons in terms of growth, you may have another growth spurt in January. And all of those uniforms would have been useless. And when it comes to uniforms, most of the time they can wear the same uniform for 2 years. Remind them, don't put the pen in the top pocket or the pants pocket so it gets ink up.
Yes.
So you can utilize those uniforms for, because my last my two sons, the last uniform, well, sixth form we have to change. 2 years I wore the uniforms for. Buy them where you can hem the pants and you can let out the pants at the
I
when
know
they get
that won't work for everyone.
Yes, so there are.
I know that won't work for everyone, but I can tell you definitely I do that as well with the uniforms. I do uniforms every 2 years, and I say
Yes.
to parents, look, it's the same uniform. They don't have to get a new set of uniform just because it's a new school year. And so I
Exactly.
find that if I'm not doing uniform each year, then I have a saving, have a little bit money to go a little further. Also,
Exactly.
you know you're going to get the book list later, closer to the end of the school year. But start to do your checks. What other things will you need for back to school? So you know sometimes a back to school you're going to go through the shoes, the socks, all the undergarments. Those you can start to purchase
Exactly.
ahead of time. Start to look for the igloos, the school bag. Right, absolutely. I think
And
these
when you're speaking
ideas
about
are a gem. And
exactly,
so,
yes, you do your inventory, man, because you
oh,
will, as I
Sharnet,
said,
it is a gem. You have to hold.
they
You
are
will have to hold. We
expensive.
can't afford. We
And when we're
can't
talking
afford to
about even
lose
just
this
buy a,
point. We can't afford to miss it.
yes, and when you
We
speak
can't
about the
afford to
igloo,
miss it, Sharnet. So we want our participants to tell us what do they do to help to save money for back to school expenses, and we want them to send it to our text line 876-997-3125. Remember to watch us and comment live on our Love 101's Facebook or YouTube page. You may also give us a call at our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. Now remember, Shernet is more than happy to respond to any questions you may have. And so we are going to take a little break, but remember, we are awaiting your questions and find out what you do to save money. We are up for another break, but just before we go, let's get a word to flesh moment with Rev Mike in this episode of WTF Words to Flesh Moments. Rev Mike.
Back to school time is on us, and for many of us, that means school fees and book purchases and other expenses to keep our children or ourselves in school. Philippians 4:19 says, "My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus." This is assurance from God that he supernaturally cares for us. A Bible king of long ago validated this when he wrote, "I have been young And now I am old, but I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. Psalm 37:25. However, some have used these Bible assurances to become neglectful in the handling of their finances, particularly in the area of savings and investment. As a result, we have become a nation of consumers with little interest in saving and investing. The recent SSL scandal has made some attitudes worse. But the Bible gives wise advice when it says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." Proverbs 21:20. We would therefore be wise to follow the Bible and seek the advice of financial experts to make it a habit to save and invest, even though we are taxed by back-to-school expenses and necessary bills like light and water to keep our homes going. No matter how high your expenses are, learn to save a small amount of what you earn. Don't gulp everything down. In fact, a country will not reach prosperity if most of its citizens are consumers and not savers and investors. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Love 101, you're invited to listen to Good Morning Minister, a weekly feature where government ministers will speak about the development in their various ministries. Listen for the updates and have your questions and concerns ready to share inside Good Morning Minister as the Minister of Information, Robert Nesta Morgan, and a guest minister or agency head discuss the issues and take your questions and suggestions. Get ready to call in during Good Morning Minister, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Have you just finished grade 11? Looking for a 2-year sixth form pathway to earn overseas local certificate diploma and advanced diploma and get qualified to work locally and internationally? Register now. Start free sixth form at IIRQ Academy. Start our new sixth form program online or face-to-face classes in September. Choose between pathway 1, 2, or 3. Paid for by the Ministry of Education. For more information, call 876-322-4029 or visit 32 Hope Road, Kingston. Website www.iirq.org.
In what way does the Bible say that we have to behave, indulge, use, and share in entertainment as Christians? How do we present ourselves, and how much can we take in before it becomes a problem to our Christianity? Tuesday, September 12 on The Rock. Join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Tommy Cohen, O'Neill Watson, and Donald Stewart as they discuss the topic Entertainment and the Christian Life. That's The Rock, Tuesday, September 12 at 10 a.m. here on the family station Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It is now 6:05 p.m. Welcome back, and it is now 6:05 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. We are talking about what you do to help save money with your back-to-school expenses, whether you are a student yourself or you are financing someone's educational journey. We have our financial guru, financial and insurance advisor with us, Sharnette Clark, and she is more than happy and willing to answer your questions. Remember, today's question to you is, what do you do to help save money for your back-to-school expenses? Now, Sharnette, before we went for the break, we had our discussion on all the tips as it relates to spreading things out throughout the year, things that we can purchase before we get to the end of the school year. So we know we're waiting on the book list, but there are so many other little things that we can start to buy. And you mentioned, interestingly, that sometimes the prices are more affordable out of season. And so,
Yes.
back to school is coming up. Everybody book lists. It's going to cost more because sometimes the book prices go up. the shoes go up, the school bag go up. So if it is that we can get those during the course of the year, then we should attempt to do so.
Go again. The
Shanette,
question.
you also mentioned shopping around. Yes, you also mentioned about shopping around, and I must tell you, I have to tell you, I remember when my daughter was going into, I think she was going into first form. I purchased her school bag because I know she would need a school bag. You know, we're coming from you remember the grade six pulley, and I think she had that bag for maybe 3 years prior. And I purchased her bag online. Yeah, man, you know the pulley them where you put whole heap of book in like suitcase, pulling
That
it
ends
off
of
with
grade
all
six,
your
you
pet
know.
books. And so, yeah, man, I was told I have my peeps to keep me informed. So I know that grade six ended. I'm gonna need a school bag for first form. And so I remember way before school ended, I got the bag online, and believe me, I thought it was a mistake because a bag that would retail for anywhere between 50 to 60 US, I got it for I think $23. And do you know when I shared that goal? By the time it came around a few weeks later, that same bag had gone up more to sometimes purchase things for anyone who wants to stretch a little dollar. We have to think about these things. Now, you mentioned, Shernette, about comparing prices. Maybe you can tell us, some strategies for that. I know it's a little different now because we have WhatsApp business and we have websites. So, how can someone who perhaps never took that way, we normally go with the book list at the bookstore, how can we look about shopping around in a timely manner?
So whenever it is that you get the book list, most schools issue the book list by the end of June to the first week in July. Some may go up to the third week in July, thereabouts. But if you have the time and you mention online, it is much easier. If it is that you're not able to go up one phone call, if it is that there are most of these bookstores now offer, as I said, I think I mentioned it before, offer to you purchase the book, they wrap the books for free and they deliver. If you are able to go around and compare the prices, that would be great, but it may be time consuming depending on where it is that you're located. And it depends on, in Kingston, I know you can find bookshops all over, Portmore the same. And you can have, if you know someone in the area, can have them check. But if it is because time consuming could be, you may have to take a taxi or bus, which is going to cost you to do that. So it is what works for you. If online works for you, then do that. If a phone call works for you, or if you have persons can check for you, but price comparison always makes a difference. As I said, once you have exhausted all of the exchange and the book drive and the borrow or lending and the rentals, then the last thing you look at is the bookstores. And again, compare the prices. And I said before, the older editions sometimes cost less than the new editions. So if it's the same book, you look in there and the information, they have not changed much of the information in the let's say the third edition as against the fourth edition, then purchase the one that is cheaper. Once it is not going to cause your child not to be up to date to what the information that they need in that book to be able to prepare for exams. But do your comparisons, because you have bookstores that are gets different prices from these manufacturers or these distributors, or they're owned by them. So the prices are a little different than the others. And we know some of them. So we are able to just go straight to that one because we know that the deal that we're going to get. And once you build a relationship, because I have, as I mentioned before, some of them even allow for salary deduction. And once they know that is you, they'll call you when the books are available and the special prices are being given out or dished out, or when there's a sale. So build a relationship with that bookstore or bookstores, because it doesn't have to be one, and see what best suits your pocket.
Yes, it works to establish the relationships and to determine, okay, this is what works for my pocket, and this is the best approach for me. With all the strategies that you've shared, I know that all our listeners will find something that works for them. We know that different strokes for different folks, and so we have so much useful information. If it is that you can get the salary deduction, at the end of the month, that's fine. But if for somebody else, they may need to purchase, do some purchases in July, or even start from June, the ones that you stuff that you know you need. July, you do another set. August, you do another set. You find out from the teacher, Miss, what books are you using for this semester or this term? So you know, okay, you don't have to buy that book, mommy or daddy, because we won't until January, or we won't use that one until April. All these are absolutely useful tips. But I wanted to ask Shrenet, when it comes to, perhaps, you see, sometimes they say people make some serious jokes. What about the trends? I cannot talk about back to school without mentioning the trends, because a little friend of mine, I love young people and they keep me in tune to all the things that are happening. I had no idea that you had school bags and specific school shoes that are
Yes, ma'am.
trending. Now, when
Yes,
I
ma'am.
look at the cost, I found out yesterday, Shernit, and I had to, get them do a little search and Google to show me what it is they're talking about. And when they showed me those two specific bags, now I know as parents, as persons making wise use of our money, we want value. And so we want to purchase something that is
That is
going to be
lasting.
quality and that's going to last. Yes, but I saw some school bags there that the price was between $10,000 to $20,000. They look like regular colorful school bags to me. And then, my little young peeps hint me and say, but auntie, these are trending. Is this everybody carrying? This is what you see at school. And so I want to address, how do we look at that part of the back to school expenses with keeping up with trends that seems to be not just a young people thing, but it's a thing.
Yes. No, for me, I have two children. One is in the brand, one doesn't really care. You have to create a balance. And what I would use if my children want a particular shoes or bag or phones is that we're going to get what we want out of those reports. So you set targets, you set goals. And we can't move away from the kids saving for the items that they would need or want. We have to get them into the habit of, okay, I'm going to meet you halfway if this is the bag or the shoes that you want, because they're children. And Tamika, think about it. Back in my day, I don't know about your time, Jan Sport was the thing and Trapper Keeper. So we all had to have that folder what we carry on the side with our backpack, and it was a Jan Sport. And in our time, that was pretty much expensive. That was expensive. And we're all coming from that era. It's just that things cost a little bit more. And some of us forgot or forget that we were once children or teenagers and we would have wanted the same things. Now, if it is that your child is just all about the brand and the schoolwork is atrocious, nothing is just about fashion, then that's another topic. But if it is that your child wants that particular bag, then that child has to be saving for that particular bag when it's time to go back to school. And if it is value for your money, again, that brand is something that is lasting, leather, for example, or a bag that is going to last them for 2 3 years. I wouldn't say it's a bad purchase, because if it is for 20,000 and it's lasting for 3 or 4 years, then to me that's value for your money. But if it is one that is going to last them
Value
for
for your money.
year, or if it's a child that has to be in the trend, that this year it is the D1 and next year is the S1 and next year is the J, then I'm going to say that's a no-no. We have to go create some balances in terms of spending. And if you don't have it, parents, have the discussion with your children, They're little manipulative people, but we can have the discussion with them to say, this is what I am going to be purchased. This is what I'm responsible for. This is what I can afford. Show them the prices, show them the budget. And I'm sure, and you can say, okay, if the grades are better for January or next year, then we can see how we can afford it. But in my understanding and experience, some of these brands are lasting. Some may not, but again, value for your money. You have to check it out, do the checks and balances, and
It's a
make sure.
conversation we definitely have to have. Make sure that the
Exactly.
checks and balances are done, but we cannot all throw. What they say, don't throw the baby with the bathwater. We have to wait and see what it is. Listeners, you heard it best. You heard it on Family Time. And guess what? We are heading into our final break. You are in tune to Love 101's Family Time. We are on YouTube and Facebook. Now, remember, Family Time is produced by the Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we still want to hear from you. What do you do to help save money for back to school expenses? Remember, send us your WhatsApp, text, or voice notes. Keep them 30 seconds or less and send to 997-3125, or you may comment live on our Facebook or YouTube page. Remember, you can also give us a call at our studio lines to participate at 876-968-8327 or 28. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we still want you to stay tuned. Do not move a muscle. We are still talking about back to school saving hacks with Shernette Clark. Stick with us, stay with us. We'll be right back.
We all trust the traditional home remedies of our parents, especially when they've been passed down through generations. Benjamin's Honey Time captures the same trusted home remedy tradition in a bottle. Get relief from irritating cold symptoms, cough, and sore throat with the warm, comforting taste of honey, rum, and lime. Benjamin's Honey Time, the formula that works with the soothing taste of tradition. Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Make an impact on your career. Earn real money. Get 3 to 4 local and international certification in practical nursing and early childhood education with free CXC or CAPE subjects in 6 to 12 months at Distinction College, located at 26 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 6 Nugent Street, Spanish Town, and Ocho Rios. Earn global certificates in 3 months in geriatric nursing, phlebotomy, childcare. We have the lowest school fees around. Classes begin very soon. Call us 356-4167.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It is now 6:19 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by the Family Life Ministries. Now, Family Life provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston at the end of this program. Remember, we're on Facebook and YouTube Live, so tune in to the program via any of our social media channel. Today's topic is back to school saving hacks. Now, we do have one of our absolute favorite financial and insurance guru, Shernette Clark, with us. And if you are just tuning in, you would have missed all the hacks that were shared. So let me just remind you, for back to school, remember, take it in strides. You do not have to make all your purchases one time. So consider, what can I purchase during the school year, and what are some of the things I can leave for the end of the school year. Remember, for your books, You want to consider your family, your friends, your church group, your co-workers, persons who may have books available for sale secondhand, persons who may have an exchange where you can perhaps give them some of your used books and they do likewise for you. Remember to take it in strides. Different strokes for different folks. So if it is you can get a payment plan from your employer, from the bookstore, go ahead and do that. But what Shanette Clark mentioned, which is absolutely important, is that regardless of the route we take, we must all plan for it and plan wisely. Shanette, I know that we are inching towards the end of our program. And before the break, we had to throw that in. You spoke about the trends. Young people often said, we don't understand them. And you right, Stan. Sometimes we do forget that we were once young. And so we have to keep things in checks and balance. Don't dismiss them altogether when they say they want this bag or this shoes. Start by having the conversation with them, make sure they're aware of where our financial limit is. And if it is that there's something they can get, we can hold them accountable to their part. So you mentioned, I will contribute this amount and you will save the difference. And hold them accountable too by the grades, committing the grades, perhaps timing the chores, the different things that they can do to earn it. So, Shanae, after all those tidbits, I want you to give a word of encouragement to our parents. I know some persons may be saying that, but I do all of that and it is still challenging. I know now I want little of the financial part to come out, the good old saving partner. Tell us some
Yes.
financial decisions that we can make to put us on track for achieving the back to school expense without the burden and the weight of it all.
We spoke about the good old partner. Can't go wrong with that. Once you find someone that is consistent, reliable, and it works, you plan around that. So, is it going to be for 6 months? You want to make sure that you're having your draws around July and August to do your purchase. Persons having their credit cards, once you know your billing cycle, and there are plenty credit card companies, financial institutions that offer the credit cards that are giving cashbacks and bonuses during the back to school period, which from about July to about December. So again, you can still spread the payment. Some are giving back 5,000, 6,000, whatever that amount is. Once you understand the billing cycle, in order to avoid paying interest, you purchase, you reload the card, and you purchase again. Remember, you have to pay off the amount that you have spent, so the entire amount, so you don't pay the interest. If it's $100,000 card and you use 50, you knock the minimum amount you're gonna pay now of 5,000 or 11,000, pay the entire 50 to avoid the interest, and you purchase again and watch the billing cycle. So if your bill statement is on the 18th, make sure it's on the 18th, the latest by 12 noon, and you can start using a card again on the 19th or the 20th. So study your billing cycle and speak to your banker or your financial advisor where that is concerned. We can't get away from budgeting, Lady Scott. We have to budget and we have to be saving in order to accommodate. So your partner, using your credit cards, and if you start saving from now and get your children in the habit, $1,000 per month, earning about a 4.3% on your money can do a lot in 12 months. So they are start saving from their lunch monies. You are doing your saving or putting in an education fund, so you know when these eventualities come, that money is there put aside. Because if back to school shopping is so difficult for books, uniform, and bags, can you think about the university cost? So we have to start saving, and where that comes
Oh
in,
boy.
I can help the persons in terms of budgeting,
Absolutely.
getting the plans in place to make sure you have consistent savings. So that is set aside for that. You don't have access to it. So if you have your regular bank account and you say that is savings, it's not savings, because if you can go to the ATM and pull that money out, that is just for your reoccurring expenses. So call me. You can find me on all the
Ah,
social media platforms, Shernet Higgins on Facebook, Icon Sherns on Instagram. And you guys have my number at love because I'm the resident advisor. It's 876-877-6130. You can email me at Shernet_Clark at Gmail, no, Shernet Higgins, sorry, at gmail.com. I don't want to give you the other email to give away the company. So Shernet Higgins at gmail.com. And then I'll take you through the process in terms of saving, in terms of budgeting, and in terms of spreading the payments where that is concerned with your back to school. If you're still struggling, there's still time for December, you know. So you want to make sure that you're recycling, reusing, minimize some of the back to
right.
school.
All hope is not lost.
Shop online where you can get discounts because sometimes, Lady Scott, shopping online, when you check out the shipping, it balances out back to the same price as you'd be purchasing it here in Jamaica. So you focus on your time and your effort on the big ticket items first. And because depending on the cost overseas, you may pay a exorbitant amount in shipping. So you have to do the comparison. Don't just jump online because others are. Do your comparison and what your
Do your
pockets are
research.
for
Yeah.
you. And I thought about this one, the churches and the various companies do back to school events where you can get even the stationery, your pencils, your pen, where you can alleviate some of those stress. Visit those places that are doing giveaways. So what you don't get, then you can focus on purchasing. And buy things that are durable. Stay away from things that are basically disposable, but things that you can reuse in terms of if they're going to be taking lunch, purchase a good igloo one that they will last them for many years, up to 5 years once it's a good one. And just save on your extracurricular gears, the things that are durable in terms of sneakers, and just remind the children, label their stuff so they're not stolen or lost because we spend a lot of money for them.
We absolutely do. But with all those tips that you have shared, Shernet, I know that we are on track to communicate with our children to ensure they do their part and we do likewise. We will get all our values and we will look into teaching them how to care for it, and we will assess the cost to make sure that we are making the right decision. Sharnet, I cannot tell you how grateful we are to always get these tips. And so we thank you so much for being here with us today. To all our listeners, if you have questions of a personal nature, or you may be concerned about a family member or friend, please give us a call at Family Life Ministries for more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. Please contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Please note that our Portmore Family Life Ministries office is now closed. So for all counseling matters, including cost, please refer to the Kingston office at 1 Cecilia Avenue or via our numbers shared. You may call to make your appointments. Otherwise, keep up to date with what's happening with Family Life Ministries and our programs on our Facebook page, FLM Family Life Ministries, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries, FLMJA. Before we leave today, here is this evening's Bible verse. Psalms 25, verse 4 and 5. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Amen. Now, join next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM our Facebook and YouTube page where we are live. And be sure to visit Loves 101's Facebook page or YouTube channel or IG page for any informative program. We want to say thanks again to our very special guest, Sharnette Clark. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, and studio facilitator, Timoy Butler. And of course, you, our listeners. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. I'm your girl, Tamika Scott Walters. Join us next time. Walk good.